it's Leah, and I want to talk about how to update a landing page campaign for the various FreshBuzz Tribe sales campaigns. These are campaigns that are for non-members. They're used to educate them, share some good information, and then upsell them to the tribe if they think it's a good fit. Basically, these are landing page campaigns. People sign up via the landing page that goes into Infusionsoft, so we have a record of who has registered. However, they also have to sign up via a GoToWebinar link to get that webinar link. So there are a couple steps that need to happen to make sure that people get the appropriate information. So here we are on the CustomerGeneratorSystem.com. This is February 2010's campaign. As you can see, we have it ready for Thursday, February 11. It's a free event, the time. We've updated the copy. It's got Martha and Chris on it. Now, when people register, this goes into Infusionsoft. So let me just show. Excuse me. Now, when this information is changed, John Boucher is the person who goes into the HTML and changes the dates as needed and whatnot. It is connected to the appropriate web form, so he doesn't have to change out the web form. But when I submit, you'll see that I get this thank you page, and it points me to this GoToWebinar or GoToMeeting page that corresponds to February 11. So when you change the date and time on this, here, it's important that on the thank you page for the contact form, you change the GoToWebinar link so that it's connected to the correct one. Where do you find that? So here I am in MOL's Infusionsoft. If I go to Setup Web Forms, this one is called 90-Day Fast Start Plan Customer Generator, and it actually says here web form code for in the link. So if I click on this, everything is set. As you can see, the actions, there's a follow-up sequence. We have to change it here, the correct web form. The options, it's going to tell people that who's registered. But if I go to the thank you page, this is where you have to change the GoToMeeting. This is number one. Change this to the correct one and test it. Make sure that it's linked to the proper URL. Sometimes you can't just highlight this and copy paste because the old URL will show up here. So you have to make sure that it's in this link picture that it goes to the correct location. And I haven't highlighted the whole URL. That definitely needs to be changed and tested. Also, setup actions. As I mentioned, here's the follow-up sequence. So when somebody registers, hopefully on the thank you page they see sign up for your GoToWebinar link. I will tell you that there's always going to be a handful of people who never notice. So we have a follow-up sequence. Once they've registered, they get an autoresponder that says thank you for registering. So if I go to set up follow-up sequences, and I click in, let's find, here's the 90-day plan customer generator. You can see I'm the first one in there now because I just tested it. So I have to click on this, the immediate reminder, your webinar link, thank you for registering. Here's the date and time. You must click here to get your unique webinar login. And again, I always test it. I highlight, copy, paste, do this, and make sure it corresponds to the correct date. Likewise, you'll want to make sure that, even though you pasted here, that this web link here is going to the same one. Because sometimes it remembers the old one. I've learned that the hard way. So that I make sure has the correct information, the correct date and time when you're, updating the sales campaign. And then here I have day before reminder that goes out to people who've registered that, I have to click on day before reminder, make sure that it's going on the correct date on a specific calendar date. So you just click here and select another date for a future event. Here I have it on the 10th because we're going out, the event itself is on the 11th, sends an email, and it's going to send the day before reminder email. I'm going to save and return to my sequence. So that's been changed. I have to edit the email as well that goes and make sure that their day before reminder actually still has the same information, so the correct information. So Thursday, February 11, 12 to 1, my unique webinar login, there it is again. Test it, be sure it goes to the correct one, and that has been changed. Now, the day of, I always schedule a reminder for myself to compare the Infusionsoft people who've registered to the event with the GoToWebinar list that you find, inside of the GoToWebinar system. Oftentimes, there's always a handful of people who just don't understand that they also have to get a GoToWebinar. What I do is I take their name, first name, last name, and email, and I paste it into GoToWebinar, right into the page so that GoToWebinar login is emailed right to them. They don't even know that they haven't not done it properly. So that's how you switch out the campaign. I want to just show you too. So you have the web form that's connected to the landing page, but you also have the emails that advertise it to people to begin with. These are in here as 90-day plan email 1, 2, and 3, and really what you need to make sure is changed in here, because you haven't given them to GoToWebinar yet, is the date and time. So that date and time is correct. Just make sure that it's proper, it corresponds to the new one, and it goes to the general landing page. Why do we do that? Because these sales calls are meant to generate new people into the top of the funnel. So if we just give the GoToWebinar link, they're not going into our database. So just to reiterate, on a sales campaign, the customergeneratorsystem.com, this landing page has already been created. John updates the date and time, and he also creates the landing pages for us. You have to make sure that the thank you is updated with the right webinar form that is connected here. You have to make sure that the follow-up sequence, like thank you for registering, this is to confirm, also has the proper GoToWebinar sequence, or link in it, and that the initial emails to broadcast and advertise the event have been updated with the correct date and time. Thanks.